Food truck.
Good morning.
Good morning, live group. Double Funnel TV training Friday.
Funny TV?
Double Funny TV. Friday training group.
Double Funnel TV. So we have talked about, in some way, shape, or form, advertising a food truck, food trailer, all week. So there's a lot you can do with inbound, and as I explained to her, some of it's going to be just hard footwork, outbound sales.
Yep.
How do you go out and reach event planners, wedding planners, and the market, leasing agents, how would you call it? Probably a project manager or event planner inside of it.
HR manager.
HR.
Yeah.
How do you reach those people?
Well, I think a big part of it is you've got to it's very similar in any sale. You have to understand them, and that's what the WIIFT, what's in it for them. What makes you unique, and what could you help them become unique with? As an example, I was sharing with somebody yesterday kind of a sales philosophy, and I said it really comes down to removing objections. Stop making get rid of the excuses, right? So if you want to do something with a food truck, which is unique and fun, I mean, you have to understand the foundation of what you're offering, right? Well, what are you offering? You're offering an experience, and people love experiences. People buy emotionally, so they love that experience that comes along with it. So what makes you unique? So it would be, what makes us unique is we're unique. We're not your typical burgers and throw something on the grill. We're fun food. We're stuff that's not available all the time. You
literally can't get a corn dog. I guess maybe does Sonic have corn dogs?
Sonic has corn dogs, but it's not it's out of the norm.
They don't have funnel cakes though.
Right, they don't have funnel cake. So it's about so what are your USPs, unique selling propositions? It comes down to what your USPs are and how those will be taken by the prospective customers. So what are your USPs? Well, we have food that's typically only available at the state fair. So therefore, we're going to have a fair-like atmosphere. We can create a fair-like atmosphere. So if you're a bunch of programmers who are head down and the only thing they do is look at a screen all day, all of a sudden we can add the fun of a fair event right outside the computers, right outside the computer walls, or something like that.
That's true, especially when people are just not saying that coding or computer work is boring, but it's definitely.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying though. Is so think about sometimes polar opposites would be a way of doing it, but you've really got to understand the vast majority of people don't understand their unique selling proposition or propositions, right?
I definitely agree. We tend to go for a statement of value because it's more customer centric.
Right.
But if you don't even know the basics, like what makes you special, you can't even begin to write a statement of value.
Exactly. I mean, the bottom line is you don't have to be special to be special. And what I mean by that is you just have to be who you are presented in a special way, presented in a unique fashion, so that people now see you differently. You know, a speaker is a speaker is a speaker is a speaker. But if you are an entertaining speaker, it's different than if you're a speaker. If you're
Is this like Doug Grady who plays an instrument on stage?
Yeah, I mean, it's a unique hook. It's a unique. It's something that everybody else doesn't necessarily do.
Can't,
doesn't want to. You could say it a lot of different ways. So when it comes down to specific, let's look at the food truck concept, right? That so what are your unique selling propositions? And again, you have to be sensitive to, while you might think it's the greatest thing in the world, somebody else might not think the exact same thing is the greatest thing in the world. And where I'm going with that is to press the fair-like atmosphere to one might be really cool, to another might be really creepy, right? So you also have to be
no clown.
That's right, no clowns. You know what I'm saying is you've got to have your unique selling propositions in such a way that they are somewhat universal desires. People like to have fun. People like to have fun. The vast majority of people like to have fun. The vast majority of people like to laugh. The vast majority of people like to eat a corn dog because they're not supposed to. You know what I'm saying? It's out of the norm. So you when you're talking to people about it, it's the same kind of thing. Your approach would be, hey, have you ever looked for a unique, look to create a unique event to celebrate your people? And notice
this is where I think bringing a little popcorn would be like really awesome too, because you bring the fun,
yeah,
and talk about the fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody doesn't want to eat. Kettle corn isn't special if you eat it all the time, or flavored.
But you can't eat real kettle corn all the time. Like the kind that's made in the vat tastes completely different. And I think because of the inexpensive nature of popcorn,
right?
One of the things, there was a TED Talk, and it was talking about what is happy, what makes people truly happy. Right. And one of it was abundance. And so abundance, like think about one piece of confetti. It's just a piece of annoying paper that you would, vacuum up, right? There's nothing fun about a paper dot, right? In fact, there's a name for one singular piece of confetti. I can't remember the name.
Confetti?
But, no, oddly enough, not. That's why I keep on wanting to say that's not it. But however, if you have, the ceiling drops down like they do at the Super Bowl, and this massive thing rips open and confetti is pouring from the ceiling, that's exciting. That is the very definition of fun. Everyone lights up and they're like, wow, because like you said, it's new, it's novel, right?
Right.
Popcorn, you can do that. So think about an HR department or any office environment, really. People might bring some cookies in, a little box of cookies. They might bring a little basket, they're going to bring something. You can bring in one of your giant stacks of popcorn, and that it just in sheer abundance with a couple of popcorn holders, and you've created excitement in the office. Like everybody in the office is going to pull around more so than even if you had brought cake.
Yeah, because cake is what you expect somebody to bring if they're going to bring something, kind of. It's really true. So again, this is where it comes down to understanding your offer. What are you really offering? Well, you're offering food, yes, but it's way past the food. The food is is because the food is unique, yes, that is an offer, but it's more the fun. It's the different. It's those kind of things that, and again, even if you heard the language that I used, let's bring in the food truck to celebrate our people, to give them an opportunity to get away from their desks. And maybe it's a time where you also make announcements of XYZ accomplished this, right? Tommy did this, which was really amazing, and this group accomplished this, which was really fabulous, or whatever those kinds of things are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you take it to make it a special event, and in such a way to leverage the experience of it all. Again, people want an experience.
Definitely.
Right? And so how could you do that? Well, similarly, in order to get that accomplished, you need to now communicate that to your prospects, that in fact, this is far more than just bringing in a food truck. This is bringing in fun. This is bringing in excitement. This is bringing in celebration. This is, joy.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and I think there's, kind of where this is going, I think, on a training side, is on the importance of USP, unique selling proposition. And so what does that mean? So it's funny, you go to this is where, and we've done this in other trainings here, I say, what your title is on your business card is not who you are, or really it's your title. So when you're at a networking event, stop introducing yourself by your title, because that's what you are. I mean, that's what other people call you. But what do you really accomplish? What's your unique selling proposition? So a chiropractor is not, yes, they're a chiropractor and they've studied hard to get that accreditation and all that. But in reality, they're a quality of life merchant. What they do is help people achieve a greater quality of life. What do you specialize in? I specialize in moms being able to pick up their kids.
Okay.
You understand that it's more the description of the experience than it is the title. Nobody wants insurance, as an example. What they want is to have.
Nobody wants to pay for insurance.
Nobody wants it. But what you want is the peace of mind that should something happen, you're going to be okay. That's what you want. Right? You want that experience. You want the experience of it all. And so it's the same kind of thing with something like this food truck. You want the experience that comes around the food truck pulling into the lot. The celebration, maybe some music, maybe some fun, maybe some this.
There's got to be some music.
Yeah, right? And so it would be, but again, the food truck becomes the default on how to accomplish all that. Make your product your default to the environment that was set up. Again, I know I've said it many times in these trainings. I don't ever want to sell you anything, but I always want you to buy a lot from me. Therefore, it is incumbent upon me to create an environment for you to want what I have. That's really my job, is to create that desire on your part that you actually want what I'm offering.
Yes. Now, Sean was on and he was speaking at our member meeting last Tuesday. And he mentioned something interesting, that people want to be able to brag about their purchase.
The only reason absolutely, the only reason anybody gives a referral is so that they can say, look how smart I am, that I found the right person to do business with. I'm so smart, you should do business with them too. That's really what they're saying. People give referrals to verify and validate their decisions. In other words, they made the decision to do business with XYZ. So it is. He terms it a little differently than I do, about bragging about, but that's really true, is I want to brag that look at who I got to do business with. And because I made such a quality decision, you should make a similar quality decision. I know that's an extension and it's like you may or may not have heard that before, but that's really the only reason people give referrals. They don't, it's to verify and validate their decision, not because the provider is all that awesome. Although the provider may be all that awesome.
Yeah.
Which is why they made a great decision.
That's interesting. And the other one was about that his comment was having 1,000 raving fans.
Right.
And it made me think of a Fletcher's corn dog.
Well, but that's, when you hear State Fair of Texas, what do you hear?
Food.
Well, what do you specifically hear? I've got to go get a Fletcher's corn dog.
Not me, but I know that's my aunt. If you asked her, the first thing is she's like, before we do anything, I need a Fletcher's hot dog.
Yeah. So, but that's the point of the raving fan. I mean, I know that we don't necessarily go to the State Fair for the State Fair. I mean, because we're there, we see the rest of it. But we go down to get our to get our annual $120 Fletcher hot corn dog. Because it's like we need that annual fix of the Fletcher's corn dogs, and it ends up costing $120 to get that freaking corn dog.
Wow.
Not that the corn dog is that much, but that's what the rest of right. And every year we laugh about it, and every year it's the exact same thing. But it's the experience around it, right? And
yes,
so
definitely.
That's, specific to unique selling propositions around this food truck. It's what actually makes you absolutely unique. And again, this carries off in a lot of different directions. You telling me that you're an amazing digital marketer, while I believe you, it doesn't necessarily influence me. Why?
Okay, that makes sense.
Why?
I would guess because it's vague.
No, you tell me that you're really awesome at what you do.
For one, everyone brags about themselves.
Well, but I might believe you, but it doesn't necessarily influence me. Why?
You haven't experienced it.
True.
I'm missing where you're going. I feel like I'm missing some part.
Well, but this is you telling me you're awesome. What do I expect you to say? That you suck?
This is true. Nobody talks about how bad they are.
Yeah, nobody is ever going to say, you know what? I've been doing digital marketing for quite some while, so let me tell you my weaknesses. That's not the way people work.
Right.
Right? So you say, well, my strengths are being able to drive traffic or build funnels or do whatever. And again, I believe you because you're telling me why those are all things that I can verify. So I believe you. It would be silly for you to tell me things that aren't true, but it doesn't necessarily influence me. Whereas if you say, man, I love digital marketing and I'm part of the digital marketing mastermind. And the reason we do that is so that we can perfect our craft so that ultimately I can benefit friends and clients like Rayanne. And in fact, I can tell you all day long about all the wonderful stuff I know and what I can do, but that's not really important. What's important is how it will work for you. You know who'd be a great person to talk to that could relate what it's done for her is Rayanne. So now, as Rayanne becomes a third-party endorser of your expertise. And that's what becomes really important. Now I believe it. If she says, yeah, boy, I was doing X, Y, Z, and then all of a sudden I got with Jena and she built these funnels, and man, these funnels are driving traffic. And now all of a sudden I'm able to communicate my message so much broader and easier and ... Well, I want my message communicated broader and easier, right?
Okay.
So now it's that third-party endorser. So again, that's why social proof is the way it's said today. In the old days, we used to call those testimonials, right? Now it's called social proof. Social proof is that you are as good as you claim to be, but other people verify and validate that in your behalf. So again, to go back to the food truck, then is, we can tell you what kind of experience your people will have, but here's a video of Jimmy. I mean, he's one of the quietest guys. This company said this is one of the quietest guys in history at their organization. They didn't even know if he could talk, but hear what he has to say on this video. Oh my God, I've never had a greater break in my life when I could get outside and could you believe a corn dog and a funnel cake out in my parking lot? And then we celebrated and we had some fun and we were high-fiving everybody. And it was just, wow, it was really awesome. I love the innovative way that it made me feel, or what, right? So now all of a sudden, so there's got to be a combination of all this as you go along. Because again, what do I expect you to say? I expect you to say, you're awesome. It's one of the reasons that Sean and I came together with U+1 is because we're both really pretty freaking good at what we do. But when Sean says that, he sounds maybe a little uppity and whatever. Or if I say that, like I just did, I might sound a little, but when Sean says it about me and I say it about Sean, all of a sudden it's different.
So if you're the food truck owner, how do you get those people who will do that for you in those communities and HR rooms and event planning rooms?
How do you get the people to do it? I mean, sorry, ask that again.
So to the food truck owner, how does she get those raving fans who will talk about her to the right people?
Well, in the early stages, you've got to cultivate that. In other words, you have to put in the effort to, if somebody comes up to you, let's say she's at an event, and somebody comes up to her and says, this was really fun. Thank you so much. That's really awesome. Can I ask you a couple questions? Well, sure. What made it fun for you? Hear what they said. How would you like other people to experience similar fun? or how, right? Not necessarily asking for the referral of where else can I go, but what made it so fun? What made it so unique? What made it, right? In other words, do a little research while you're there, because now you can, now in your marketing, now you start to build your marketing, right?
Right.
What we find to be true is virtually everybody experiences this a little differently.
Right.
The one thing in common is they all love it. But Jena said that her favorite part was cheating on a corn dog, because that's just something that's not available to her. And then Tom said, what a unique way. I mean, I've never had a funnel cake in my life until that day. I never knew what I was missing, right? So now you start to tell people, you start to share their interpretation of the experience, and that's what helps, right?
So Rayanne had a direct question.
Okay.
How do you sell peace of mind to people that don't know the truth about pain or think someone else solves it? But I still think that kind of comes back to the other one. If somebody else says it for you, I don't think people even question. They don't need to know why.
Well, true. That is partially true. But in this, to answer this particular straight-on question, is you have to. This is conceptual value-added presentation at its finest. There is price presentation. There is brand presentation. Price is dependent upon price. Brand is dependent upon concept. When you win the concept, you win the sale. So that was foundational that I just added there. So here's what that comes down to in this situation. And Rayanne, I would suggest you use this heavily. The only thing that heals the body is the power that built the body. That's the concept. That is a true statement. The only thing that heals the body is the power that built the body. The only thing that heals the body is the body. Nothing else heals the body. The body is a self-healing device. And so what people have been convinced of by a lot of advertising is that the body heals by ingesting a pharmaceutical, or the body heals and the body does not heal. A pharmaceutical only masks a symptom. So the point is, how do you sell peace of mind if people don't know the truth about pain or think somebody else solves it? Is help them understand that the only thing that heals the body is the body. If you cut yourself and they put in stitches, the stitches do not heal that cut. The stitches simply hold the body in close enough proximity so that the body can heal from the inside out. The only thing that heals the body is the body. That's the concept. So right. when you win that concept, so if I say to you, Jena, there's a lot of advertising and a lot of confusion about this, but have you ever heard of the concept, the only thing that heals the body is the body? Have you ever heard of that? Well,
I know.
Okay, that's cool. That's exactly why I love doing what I do, because I get to educate people on truth. Because the only thing that heals the body is the body. Or if you want to take it to a next level, the only thing that heals the body is the power that built the body. In other words, we've been built to be perfect. And quite frankly, if we're not, if we're not healthy, if we're not the right height, if we're not the right weight, if we're not, it's a combination of three things: physical, chemical, and emotional stress. It's actually one or all three of those in combination. Doesn't that make sense? Well,
Yes.
you live in North Dallas. I mean, there's traffic there, isn't there? That's physical stress. I mean, you breathe the air. That's chemical stress. You know, there's certain places where the air is fresher than others. Okay.
Yep.
So basically, I just teach truth. And the only thing that heals the body is the body. So if you truly want peace of mind, doesn't it make sense that you put those nutrients and those all natural foods and vegetables and nutrients into your body to power the body to do what it was designed to do anyway? So again, how do you sell peace of mind if people don't know the truth? Is you have to educate them on truth. But this is where you can't make crazy off the wall statements. That's why claims aren't allowed, right? But if people don't know that pain, so the only, Jenna, very simply, the only thing that heals the body is the body. Pain is actually there for your benefit. It's there to tell you something's not right.
That would be well, I don't think that's what Rayanne would say. I think she has a thing for that. But I like that idea of a contrarian view. I think it makes a good pattern interrupt.
Well, and that's what it is. But, and again, I don't know what Rayanne says about pain, but the fact is, pain is simply a symptom of something not being right. That's pain is
caused. You can make the statement fit whatever you're saying afterwards. I mean, people do that in marketing all the time. They're like, email is dead in the headline. And they're sending an email. And they're like, I'm just kidding. Email works great. But I got you to open, didn't I?
Right. Well, but again, this goes back to, you know, again, I've said it in these trainings. We were backstage with Zig, and you know, somebody said, Zig, we go from city to city to city, and you never change your talk. And they said, why? And, well, two main reasons. Number one, the people in this city have never heard this talk, and they need to. And the second is, I teach truth, and truth never changes. So for somebody as specific as Rayanne and what she's doing, using all natural alternative approaches to pain relief, she has to lock in the concept of the only thing that heals the body is the body. Because that's what she does. She helps you take the 3 actions a day that allow your body to heal itself. So she's got to win that concept. She's got to lead with that, because that's truth. The other side of it is it's just plain truth. And that's what, see, if you look at, there's never a time. That's why do you think pharmaceuticals can't say the word cure? Because they can't cure. They don't cure.
Unless they can.
But they don't.
That's not most.
But the point is, there are all natural, holistic answers to a lot of things that big money is suppressing, which is, that's a whole nother topic of discussion. You know, but the point is that, you know, again, to get peace of mind, so if I say to you, you know, if I'm Rayanne and I say, yeah, again, how do you sell peace of mind if people don't know the truth about pain? You've got to educate them that that's not the fact.
That's fair.
right? I mean, there are needs for doctor. You break an arm and the arm needs to be reset. There is a need for a doctor to reset the arm, to reset the bone, but the doctor doesn't heal that bone. The doctor simply puts the bone back into a position where it can heal.
Yeah, you're stuck with it. You got to do it on your own.
Yeah, just knock that shoulder back into joint.
Ask me how I know that one.
Yeah, I know. Well, so again, I mean, I think that's where these unique selling propositions come in. This is what's so interesting about this is, in Rianne's case, the unique selling proposition is universal truth. The only thing that heals the body is the body. That's a universal truth. And quite frankly, that should be the banner head, because, Jenna, doesn't it make sense? You would never take a pharmaceutical because the only thing that heals the body is the body. You would never suppress it, through drugs or some alternative method, because the only thing that heals the body is the body, right? We are uniquely equipped to address this. Now, sometimes there are some care that goes into getting you to that point to allow it to go all natural. But you understand where I'm going with all that? And so again, it's it's kind of funny with the food truck, kind of used the universe. People like to have fun. People like to laugh. People like to blow off steam. People like to, right?
I almost wonder, too, if you couldn't, I'm always wondering what is the easy win, right? When you're dealing with companies. If you can find companies who already provide lunch or regular meals or regular events, and you can just slide in and say, look, you were already going to spend this much.
Sure.
Try us instead. Instead of, staying inside and having everything brought in, let's schedule for, a beautiful spring day and let's have them come out of their office.
Sure. There's a couple companies here in Las Colinas that do that. They have a chef that comes in and feeds the office staff every day. It's part of their perk, part of the perk. It's part of what they do for their team members. So that would be a great way of doing it.
In a minute, baby. Say hi. 20 minutes. Okay? Or you could just go get a red apple and bring me a butter knife. Okay. I think the hardest part for her will be even getting in the door. Thank you for letting me know. Getting into the door of HR, I feel like there's a lot of roadblocks there. So how do you get past the roadblocks? Not roadblocks. What are they called?
Gatekeepers.
Gatekeepers.
It's the same kind of thing. Is typically they who have the most information wins. So right now they know their corporate style and what they do, and you don't. So if they know what they do, they're making judgments and decisions based off of what they know, and you're guessing. So part of it is simply asking, hey, you know what? Don't know, and doing it from a place of humility. Hey, I don't know if this would fit for you and your organization, but what I do know is every place we've offered up this food truck as a special event for the people, the teams seem to love it. And so I'd love to explore if that might be a possibility here. Can I simply ask you a few questions? See, this is, Jim Cathcart said it this way: prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. So if I'm if I think that my solution is right 100% of the time, I'm not diagnosing the situation very well.
Okay.
Right? If my prescription is always the answer, then I'm not really probably diagnosing very well, because it's probably pretty highly unlikely that my solution is the answer 100% of the time. But if I can go in, so again, if we use that concept, if prescription without diagnosis is malpractice, what needs to be done first? Diagnosis. If you go to a doctor, what do? So what's been hurting? How long has it been hurting? Where does it hurt? When does it hurt? Right? They're diagnosing by asking questions. Well, it's the exact same. Sales is the exact same thing. Sales, we diagnose the opportunity. So what's your greatest challenge? When was the last time that that your organization just laughed and giggled together? The point is, you can ask a lot of questions, but if you come from a place of, again, the place of humility, I don't know if this will work for you. I don't know if it's appropriate in this setting. What I do know is where we've had the opportunity to work with companies, the people have become raving fans. Here's why they've become raving fans. Who can I talk with to learn more? We'd love to have the opportunity to do it. And I know there are probably people watching this or listening to this going, God, that sounds like work. Yes, it is. But it's fun work if you like people.
Right.
That's when you go to places. This is when we were at BGN Insiders on Tuesday. I was sitting talking with Rhonda.
Yep.
And she's like, well, how do you start a conversation? I said, well, you start it like you would start anything else. It depends on your level of relationship or whatever. But I said to her, so if you could improve one thing in your life, what would it be? See, I've got what too many sales trainers train is how to kind of corner you into a certain conversation that leads you to their topic or their solution.
It's funny how that works out, right?
Well, but people smell it out, number one. Number two, it's like, ooh, right? And so I said, so if you could improve one thing in your life, what would it be? She said, boy, I just really would love to be able to talk to people easier. I said, well, that makes a lot of sense. What do you think would help you do that? And she said, well, if I had some better questions or things like that. I said, well, I just asked you a question. How did you feel about that question? She goes, well, that made it really easy for me to talk to you. I said, well, would you like to have it be really easy for you to talk to others? She said, yeah, that'd be great. And I said, well, can I give you a thought? Now, that is asking her permission to present to her. And so she said, well, sure. I said, what if you use that question? Wow, that's that easy? Yeah. So do you understand all it is? A lot of this is, how do you start those conversations? How do you find out where to place a food truck? You ask, hey, if you were me, where would you place a food truck? Hey, if there, Jena, you're up here you've got, the Fembot Army and you talk to a lot of moms and a lot of places like that. If you were me, where would you go to up the fun, on a Saturday, right? Well, I would go to XYZ Park because this is where those people go. Or do you understand? Part of it is people people want to sell immediately, but they don't want to do the groundwork, which makes the selling easy. Which if they would do the groundwork that makes the selling easy, selling wouldn't be as hard.
Right. That makes way too much sense.
Isn't it? It's like I was talking to a guy yesterday and I said, what's your greatest challenge right now? And he said, I don't have any. I said, man, that's awesome. How do we bottle that? And he goes, yeah, we shouldn't we? I said, yeah, because there are a lot of people that would like to not have any challenges. And he goes, well, I guess I do have some challenges. Well, like what? Do you understand? Just the conversation and go, not trying to put him in any particular place, allowed for just a conversation to happen. And when that's people do, again, it goes back to the foundation. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. If I talk to you, whether I'm doing business with you or not, trust will be gained. And so when you do have business to be done, the likelihood that you'll want to do it with me is greater, because you realize that whether I do business with you or don't do business with you, I'm there for you. Right? So you've created relationship. It's the reason people, come together and work together and do the things they do, because they feel good about the situation.
No, I mean, that makes absolute sense, because so many people, and we've talked about this like in traditional networking groups, and why we didn't want ours on Tuesday with our members to be the same way, is they come in, they say what they want to say, they say the 30-second pitch, it's all sales, buy my stuff, walk out the door, and then say, man, that group sucked.
Yeah, and it had nothing to do, you didn't find out anything about the group. You didn't find out anything about anybody. Again, we've lost the art of creating curiosity. We've lost the art of creating a relationship. We've lost understanding that there's actually work involved in business, but it can be fun. I mean, so many people, oh God, that's work. Okay, you can look at it as work. People sit there and say, Scott, you've got all these connections. Well, because when I'm with those people, I actually talk to them.
I know, crazy concept, right?
What's going on? How can I be of service to you? Who do you need to know? Can I connect you with this person or that person? Hey, what challenges are you facing? All those kinds of things, right?
That's fair.
I think people make it so much harder than it really is. And it's not that hard. It just is. You've just got to explore the possibilities and everything. Thank you, Rayanne. That's very nice of you to say. Rayanne agrees. Yeah. It's interesting, because I met with a guy who came in from out of town, and he had breakfast with a mutual friend of ours, and the mutual friend said, while you're in town, you should see if you can meet Scott. And so he reaches out and he said, hey, Michael thinks that we should meet. And I said, okay. He goes, really? And I said, well, if Michael thinks we should meet, we should meet. So, we go have lunch together. And he said, I can't believe you just, came to meet. I said, well, how do we explore whether there's a chance that we can do things together if we don't know each other? And so but in that conversation, then we started, he's a boomer as well. And we started talking about boomers and millennials. And we started talking about how actually boomers and millennials can work together very well.
Crazy concept.
But there are many boomers that don't feel that's true. Okay, bad on them.
Probably vice versa.
bad on them, sorry. And there's many millennials that think boomers are over the hill and don't know nothing. And okay, bad on them as well. You know, but if we start to recognize each other's strengths and then try to multiply our strengths through alignment, hey, novel things could happen, right? Imagine. All of a sudden a boomer could be a funnel monster. You never know.
Yeah, on a regular basis. I got a new funnel, Jena.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
my
can
goodness.
a food truck owner tap into the HR industry? Possibly. Adding employee perks? Possibly. Again, people, if we think, as long as we're talking about millennials, let's talk about them. Millennials want community. They want cause. They want contribution. They want a different environment. And so this is a way of, the food truck, it's funny. Again, Peggy and I were walking Willie yesterday, and she was talking about her sister's company, but they've gone so far the other way. They're like, well, they're having a cake party at noon today because it's Valentine's Day. And then they're having another party tomorrow for President's Day. And they're always having parties. They're always having gatherings. They aren't necessarily serving their customers well, but God, they're really happy internally, right? Because they're working so hard to be happy internally, but the reality is they don't have the balance of having the team be happy internally and the business be done well externally. That doesn't work either.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's got to be a balance. There's a reason, and every generation says the same thing. Dang, the older I get, the smarter my parents get. Every generation says the same thing, because at one time we thought our parents didn't know squat either. We kind of looked at them and went, oh, that's the old way of doing it. Now, if you're a boomer and said that's the old way of doing it, it was probably a pretty old way of doing it. Right?
Right.
But anyway, so a big part of this is, again, and that's what Rayanne was saying, is on the communication side. We've got to, it's funny because we sit here and how many people would look at the number of viewers that we get on these lives and just check out and go, well, we've done this for 4 days and we've only got X number of viewers, so we're out.
Oh. There's bigger ways to launch something, but you have to, in that respect, you have to remember what you're doing it for. Right.
I can tell you, for me, I love doing this because it's really invigorated a lot of the trainings that I've been doing and getting me to think more and more and more and more about stuff. It's awesome.
Good.
No, it's great. I love it. I think it's fun, because it's like what I realized when I was at BGN, when I was talking to Rhonda in the back of the room the other day, was that made a difference to her. She'd
already had a bad day.
She had a really bad day, but that really made a difference for her. That's rewarding. That's the way it should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can think of for the food truck specifically. Final words for the food truck.
Just really go outside. I think where all of us get caught is we're so close to our own material and our own thoughts that we don't understand why people don't respond to our presentation, jumping all over it, buying everything we have.
Right.
And I think we're so close to it. We go, well, can't they see this? And the answer is no, they really can't. So I would have the food truck owner actually survey, and that could be done on a written survey or just as in conversations. I know why I'm doing this. Why do you think I should do this? Or what do you think, you know, what do you think is cool about this? Or what do you think is exciting about this? Or how can I share this experience? What's that?
We actually have that on our avatar. What is it the other person who's hired you before would say about you if they were recommending you?
Right.
What is their quote?
Right. It's exactly. That's why you go and you ask other people, you know, you ask other people what their experience is, or how they could share the message, or how they could impact people, or all those things.
Yeah.
Right? You know, ask them about it all, because you're so close to it. You know, what's the best part of this? What's the best part of this sales training? See, what I work to do is come from a high intention, low attachment, make sure that I deliver as much value as I can deliver, and that's why I don't necessarily have a PowerPoint every week because it's not about what I want to deliver. It's about what comes up intuitively as we have this conversation. Now, for some people, that might work really well. And for other people, they might want this to be so far more structured than it is. Okay, I can appreciate that. You know, it's the same kind of thing, though. I think for the food truck is go ask. You know why you're doing what you're doing, I think, for the most part. Most people understand why they're doing what they're doing. Ask other people how they could be. How do you think I could be more effective doing what I do? Not everybody's going to be kind and nice and give you the answers you want to hear.
Nope.
You know, but those who are probably the right people to work with will take that much better. You know, they'll go, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, very interesting.
Is that helpful?
It is. I hope it is to her. I think that's a lot of great information, and not the traditional information you would find all over the internet. You're always wealth of information and knowledge when it comes to sales.
Well, thank you. I
don't even want to call it sales, like human
interaction.
Yeah.
Well, it's human. It's relationship. It's so. It's really funny because this guy I was talking to the other day that I went and met for the first time said that he actually, as a boomer, was just released by a millennial boss. And the millennial boss came in and said, relationship selling is over. It's all about numbers. You watch what happens to that organization.
Wow. That is a bold statement.
Yeah.
Okay. You do me a big favor, Bella? Say thank you for watching.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody Monday.
Oh, now everyone wants to join. So everyone, Thank you for watching Double Funnel TV.
That's right.
They always stay hidden for a while.
Have a great weekend. Bye all.